Good morning, good morning, good morning, you all. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and we're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But first, real life and the disclaimers. I knew there was a reason why I hated the fucking Washington Post before AH's op-ed came out, and I actually forgot about this one, but once I got it pulled up, jogged the memory. We're traveling back to 2014, and this is coming from the Washington Post. Folks, get your calming tea and take some deep breaths while I go through the disclaimers. Alright, so you are going to see the link to this article from 2014 right there in the description box, alongside the other links to the Stop the Shocks campaign. You're new to the channel. I have no fucking idea what the JRC is. I envy you your ignorant bliss. But that's about the end. So please look at the links if you're new, particularly the compilation video put together by former JRC employee Greg Miller. It's going to give you all the outline of what this place does to disabled people. Please, though, trigger warning. It is disturbing. Okay? And folks, we also include the ever-present Autistic Hoya's link to her massive archive. We got decades and decades and decades of evidence on top of live video footage of what these bastards have done and what they're capable of. We are on that archive, so please take a look. We have the templates. These were created by the Autism Self-Advocacy Network as an easy way to be able to send letters to your senator in order to stop adversive treatments, which are, let's face it, punishment for being disabled. Right there as well. You just have to sign your name, click on your senator. It's extremely easy to do. We usually include the phone numbers there as well if you want to call their office. And also, we have the ever-present, self-explanatory, change.org, shut the Judge Rotenberg Center down petition. Now, a couple of trigger warnings. You're going to see some immense gaslighting, mockery, and just absolute horrific abuse that's been hurled at us advocates against this torture center since, God, eons. Fucking eons. And you're going to see some mind-numbing level stupid, as well as some benign, reasonable seeing deceptions. Also, when we talk about the JRC, you're going to see surveillance footage, or you're going to hear some descriptions of and catch some surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. It's morning, I can barely talk. If you got young children present, folks, please use your headphones. It is graphic, it is disturbing, and it is heart-rending. Now it is 8:48 in the morning. Obviously, JD versus AH is getting ready to come on. And I'm barely awake. So if I stumble over my words, folks, apologies in advance, all right? Okay, so let's see the fuckery of the Washington Post, shall we? This is why I hate the bastards and don't trust them as far as I can fucking throw them. The FDA may ban the treatment keeping our daughter alive. Every time a parent says that, all I can think about is that Andre McCollins video. And I just want to play that video to each and every parent who says this stupid bullshit and show them the New York report from 2006 from their Department of Education and have them fucking explain to me how the name of the living fuck that's living. But let's move on. And if you want to know what happened to Andre McCollins, again, video link in the description box. Please, for the love of God, look at it. All right. Again, they're stating it's a treatment of last resort, but for some, it is the only hope. Again, if that's my only fucking hope, put a bullet in my head. Can I say that? I'm going to try to not get triggered here. But if my choice is living in that hellhole or a bullet to the fucking head, I'll take the bullet. I will fucking take the bullet. Fuck it. Reboot. Done. New. Moving on. Samantha, our 21-year-old daughter, attacked other children, her teachers, and us. She bit, scratched, kicked, hit, pinched, and headbutted whoever was in range. Her relentless compulsion for self-abuse led her to throw herself on the floor. When she was 12 years old, she finally hit herself in the head hard enough to detach both retinas, rendering herself virtually blind. Her autism was so bad that it proved impervious to professional therapists, powerful medications, and the love of her parents and siblings. She was expelled from numerous schools and treatment centers. Her life was in danger. Here we go again. Stop shitting a shitter, parents. I've worked in the field. This is victim blaming. This is the gaslighting that I'm talking about, folks. This is the gaslighting that I'm talking about. All they care about is the behaviors. That's all they fucking care about. They are so obsessed and fixated on the behaviors that logical thought goes out the fucking window. I understand desperation. I have seen desperate parents. I've seen the bars on the fucking windows. I've seen the marks, okay? I am not hard-hearted. But sending your kid to a torture center is not the fucking answer. There are other ways. What is triggering the behavior? You're treating the symptoms, not the problem. And that never works. But moving on. Then, after years of self-abuse, something happened. We found a program for Samantha that actually works, the Judge Rotenberg Center in Canton, Massachusetts. JRC's behavioral treatment, including controversial electrical device, is a program of last resort to treat children and adults with life-threatening behavior disorders that are resistant to all other forms of psychological and psychiatric care. That's not true, though, is it? That is not true, though. That is the lie that they want you to believe. That is the lie they want you to believe. We've seen videos from Jennifer Masamba, yes? Tell me, did she seem like the worst of the worst to you? And yet they still did all this shit to her. But moving on. The victim stories call the lie, but these parents, again, I'll say it, they don't want to see it. All they care about is that the behaviors have stopped. And to them, that means the JRC is doing good. It's this idea of the ends justifies the means. And it doesn't seem to fucking matter the goddamn trauma you put these kids through in order to get your goddamn results. And those results don't last very long, now do they? Because what happens when they're out from under the threat of the GED, the behaviors come back because they are neurological, not behavioral. You are torturing kids for symptoms without addressing the problem behind it. It's the autism that's the problem. No, it's fucking not, Karen. Triggers don't come fucking out of nowhere, and don't give me that shit. It's autism. Okay, fair. Autism makes our brains work differently. What's the fucking trigger? Okay, what's a reasonable accommodation? It's that simple. Fuck me. I understand these situations and desperate parents. I do, and I sympathize. But I've also seen those desperate parents listen during person centered planning sessions. And you know what? With the right teams, the right care, the right open minded doctors who don't give up on those kids, answers have been found. The results are life changing. Within several weeks of beginning a kind electrical shock treatment, Sam stopped hitting herself. No, because they were hitting her for her. She stopped her other violent behaviors. So, we're willing to use fear and trauma to stop behaviors. How is this good? This is what I don't understand. Why are we using violence to stop violence? It makes no coherent sense to anyone with a logical brain cell. When we are trapped in these situations, when we're desperate, we're not thinking clearly. We are not thinking logically. And we'll buy what anybody's saying just for it to stop. I understand that. I've fucking been there, okay? I get it. We need to start realizing that we aren't thinking clearly and reach out for unbiased help. We weaned her off all the damaging and ineffective psychotropic medications. Sam is now completely a different person, happy, beautiful, and often singing. No sign of bloodied and bruised 80-pound girl who once was legally blind and forced to wear a helmet, neck brace, and arm splits. We had our daughter back. Did ya? And at what cost? At what cost? You were in a bad situation. I'm not going to take away from that. But is starving her, depriving her of sleep, shocking her, having staff traumatize her 24/7, never allowing her a moment's peace or a moment of privacy. Is that really the answer? Being on a 4-point board, fucking helpless, while orderlies strip these girls naked and forcibly bathe them, where male monitors can watch. Is it worth it? Is our trauma, our suffering, our abuse, and our torture worth it for the behaviors to stop? I've always wanted to ask this question, and they always tell me that's not really what's happening. Those are lies. They're not. They've been backed by several independent investigations. But moving on. Yet the FDA is now considering a ban on the treatment that saved Samantha's life, despite of a unanimous finding by its own advisory panel that no other option exists for this group of people with dangerous behaviors. That is actually a lie. The FDA did not find that there was no other options. The FDA actually brought to the table that there were many other different treatment options. Yes, for people just as severe as your daughter. Let's look at it this way. No other fucking state allows this shit. I guarantee you that we out here in Missouri, We have people just as severe as your daughter. But we managed to create treatment plans and programs out here that are not aversive, that don't punish us for fucking being disabled or daring to, breathe while autistic. That has had results every goddamn time. We have numerous papers on the subject, but they want you to buy the lie that this is the only option. Greg Miller has said it. They feed it to their staff, too. There are thousands of other options. I'm just saying. If the graduated electronic decelerator disappears, we'll worry we'll lose our daughter all over again. You never fucking had her, you moron. Let me put it bluntly for you. You are forcing your daughter to live in a hellhole. And you are demonizing the people trying to save her. Any means to justify the ends is how trauma, PTSD, and permanent fucking damage has happened to people. We have Andre McCullen's medical records to show that. But moving on. Our family first learned about the JRC and its shock treatment when Sam was 12 years old and the school she was attending. Her fourth to date told us that it could not handle her. I went over this in yesterday's video, folks. No, they can't. Because special education is severely underfunded by a whole across the United States. They do not have the funds, enough teachers, enough classrooms to be able to handle them all. Training on autism? Yeah. You see what I mean? JRC is the only school in the country that will accept people with the most severe behavior disorders. That doesn't make it good! Fuck me, can I finally... Just because they'll accept anyone doesn't make it good. Do you know they get $258,000 a head every fucking school year, parents? Of course they're going to accept your kid. The school's giving them fucking money to do so. But moving on. Its GED device operated by trained staff delivers a 2-second electrical impulse to skins and arms and legs, immediately following a targeted behavior. Like standing up. Moving your hand in front of your eyes. Asking to go to the bathroom more than once when you get ignored the first time. Having any kind of reaction when another person is screaming in pain next to you. Shocking you when you dare to fucking tense up because you just had an electric pulse go through you. Spare me. Oh, and here we fucking go. This device is part of a behavioral treatment plan, including positive reinforcement training, education, and repetition. Designed by the board-certified behavioral analysts and psychologists approved by a Massachusetts court. Again, psychologists under the JRC's payroll, and it's fucking ABA and it's garbage. Only thing ABA does is teach us to hate ourselves. And that we have to create a mask in order to be accepted and loved. That's it. But moving on. For Sam and others, it is the only treatment that has ever proven effective to control her violent behaviors. That's the thing. You want to control her. You don't give a fuck if she's really happy. You don't care to learn if there's actual trauma going on. All you care is about the behaviors. You don't give a shit about what's causing them. Behaviors don't come out of fucking nowhere. God, I've been trying to tell so many people this for so many years now. Behaviors don't come out of nowhere. There's always a trigger. And for those of us and those parents who've accepted to use reasonable accommodations to abate those behaviors because they dared to find the trigger, we get demonized. We get fucking demonized. But how will they ever live a normal life? Karen, you don't live a normal life. Nobody has a normal life. Normal is some romanticized idea that the medical model has created for which they are willing to do myriad atrocities against people with disabilities in order to obtain it. It doesn't actually exist anywhere in the real world. But moving on. JRC has used a GED treatment for over 20 years and has proven to be safe, extremely beneficial, and life-saving for many students like Sam when all other treatments have failed. It's not safe. You cannot watch that video of Andre McCollins and tell me it's fucking safe. There are over 110 scientific articles supporting the efficacy and safety of skin shock, but they won't tell you. The Washington Post won't tell you. Who's surprised? All those papers come from the JRC. And they are all over 30 years old. Let me say that again. All these scientific papers that this guy's mentioning, every last one of them comes from the fucking JRC. Yet a group of people in the autism community, here we go, almost all whom have never visited a JRC or lived with a child with these behaviors, have done everything possible to ban the treatment because they find the thought of shocking children offensive. Are you fucking kidding me? This is the gaslighting I told you that we're going to be in for. They're going to blame the advocates. Because they always do. You don't understand. You don't live with these. I am that child. Fuck you very much. I am that child. I was your child. Don't fucking dare come at me with that shit. I was that child. Cheryl McCollins was a mother of that child. The parents who lost their children. The 6 kids who have died due to negligence and medical malpractice were parents of that child. Do not give me your bullshit. They sit there, you don't understand. The fuck I don't. The fuck I don't. Moving on. They have tried the courts, Massachusetts legislature, the New York state legislature, the U.S. Justice Department, and even the United Nations to stop a program that saved my child's life. They now go on to the FDA, which may grant them their wish. Are you trying to tell me, parent, that you know better than a special repertoire on torture about what's happening to your daughter? That's a fucking reach. Oh, here we go. These autism advocates claim that positive reinforcement and drugs would work just as well. Again, this is a simplification, folks. This is the bullshit lies they're going to feed you. We don't know what we're talking about, and the drugs would work just as well, and they're going to tell you, but we tried that. They didn't, though. They didn't. They tried ABA. They tried ABA, which we all know doesn't actually fucking work. I know from personal experience that they're absolutely wrong. I know from personal experience that you're fucking completely wrong and you're justifying the torture of your fucking daughter. How you can sit there and watch what happened to Andre McCollins, read the stories, listen to the victims, and tell them that they're wrong. Obviously, we tried that. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You did what the fucking school system told you to do. You took your kid to ABA, which will never work for a neurological disability. You did nothing to find out what was triggering the behaviors. Nothing. Not a zilch, not a do not dare justify sending your child to that fucking hellhole and defending these bastards for starving, torturing, and depriving these kids of sleep and making every single living moment of their lives hell, with people even watching them in the fucking shower and attacking them there. Do not justify that bullshit to me. Ever. Ever. But that same panel, despite knowing that there are no other options for children like ours, bullshit, is now recommending banning the GED until more research is conducted. If the FDA ends this treatment, Sam and others like her will again be condemned to lives of self-inflicted mutilation, psychotropic drugs, restraint, institutionalization, and sometimes even death. You mean the very shit that they're doing at the JRC? I wonder if these parents know that there are 6 kids dead because of this school. We support additional research, but Sam's treatment should be allowed to continue while it's underway. No, your child needs to be fucking removed from you. I'm done. Folks, I used to be trying to be kind. I used to try to be understanding. I understand desperation. I have worked in this field. But what these parents who defend what these people are doing do is they close their eyes to all the evidence, much like the people who support AH. They close their eyes to all the evidence and regurgitate JRC's bullshit. They spout lies, and the sad fact is they don't even realize they're lies. They're getting what they want. The behaviors is stopped. They don't want to know the reasons why. They don't want to know the trauma that has happened. They don't want to know the pain their child is in. They don't care because behaviors have stopped. And to them, that means everything's hunky-dory. The ends does not justify the means, folks. Torture is not an answer. You can torture anyone and make them compliant and make them say and do whatever the fuck you want them to do. That's what torture does. But it never fucking lasts. It's not a treatment. If you knowingly watch that video with Andre McCollins and send your child to this hellhole and dare try to justify it to me, I don't know, but you're no better than a fucking eugenicists. And folks, if you want to see what I mean, why I'm getting so upset, I'm going to counter the lies right now with some facts. I've done this on occasion, but I do it every so often because, well, we get new people in. This is what this parent's defending. Allow me to show you. This is what they're defending.
Screams of pain from a student at the Judge Rodenberg Center as he's tied down and shocked for hours. Good evening, I'm Mark Cochran.
Hi, everybody. Maria Stefanos, Fox Undercover's camera, the only one in court today, as a jury is given its first look at that disturbing video. We want to warn you that the video is tough to watch. Mike Bodette reports.
is the video that the Judge Rotenberg Center in Canton has fought long and hard to keep from the public eye. The center convinced a judge 8 years ago to seal it, and the battle continued right up until it was played in court, as lawyers for the center asked the judge to bar our camera from recording it. The judge said no.
This is what they defend, folks. This is the truth of the JRC.
Oh, and now for the first time ever, the public can see for itself what these controversial electric shocks look like in use. Dramatic video of New York teenager Andre McCollins, restrained face down, a helmet on his head, screaming for help. The Judge Rotenberg Center calls it treatment.
I was shocked number 16 or 17. 31 that day.
As McCollins' attorney just described.
Tell me, does that seem minor to you? Does that sound like what that parent was describing to you? No. No, it doesn't.
The teenager was shocked 31 times in all that day in 2002. McCollins is suing the Canton-based center, calling it torture. Lawyers for the center and its clinicians say McCollins needed aversive therapy because he was aggressive.
These are dramatic tapes. There's no question about that. But the treatment plan at the Rotenberg Center, the treatment plan that Andre had in place on October 25 was followed.
It was an emotional day for McCollins' mother, Cheryl, who was in court as video was played from the beginning of Andre's ordeal, when he was shocked and restrained after refusing to take off his coat.
Yeah. Did you hear that? It wasn't for behaviors. He wasn't being violent. It was for, this is what these animals fucking did. This is the start of it. Watch. This is what they do.
I never signed up for him to be tortured, terrorized, and abused. I had no idea that they tortured the children in the school.
Cheryl testified.
I would love the parents that defend this school to talk to her.
What her son was like when she visited him 3 days later.
I couldn't turn Andre's head to the left, to the right. He was just staring straight. I took my hands and I went like this. He didn't blink.
Cheryl McCollins did get Andre to Children's Hospital that day, where he was diagnosed with acute stress response caused by the shocks. The jury also heard her testify about watching the video and hearing staff members laughing while their son was on the floor. We should see more video on Wednesday in court as Cheryl McCollins returns to the witness stand. I'm Mike Bodette for Fox Undercover.
Now, after hearing that and comparing it with the Washington Post, you see what I mean? And this is why, folks, I don't trust those bastards at the Post. It's a grudge going back way before the JD versus AH case. And we're going to close out on that note. We don't get very many views on this channel, especially on this subject. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. Do appreciate your time this morning. And as always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.